I've seen over the years that people often misunderstand what the practice of presence is. And of course, there are different methods, there are different techniques for practicing presence, different ways one could go about practicing presence. Often, though, there's this very subtle underlying current that to practice presence, to practice being present, is somehow in addition to what's already going on. Like, I'm having an experience of some kind, or I'm having a feeling of some kind, and I'm going to be present. And often when we have this kind of approach, the practice of presence will feel like a task. Eventually it'll feel like a burden, and it'll feel like something that it'll often end up feeling like something we don't know if we have the capacity to continue, right? So often people will be faced with this experience that they don't know how, or they don't feel that they have the power or strength or endurance to continue with the experience of presence. And in most cases, when this is our mindset, we're missing something very elemental. And what we're basically missing is the intimacy of the experience that we're having in that moment. In other words, what we try to do, we try to turn the practice of presence into a time-based activity. So what I start looking for when I do this is I start looking for, how am I going to be present later on at work? How am I going to be present tomorrow when I have to go do this important interview? How am I going to be present next week when, you see, you're not even present now, right? We're trying to figure out how to be present tomorrow, but we're not present now. Because if you were present now, you would realize that you're trying to figure out how to be present tomorrow. And you would realize that that's a completely useless activity, right? And this is what we do, right? Because we're so accustomed to our mind being in charge of our experience, right? So we think that we're going to figure out a way to put our mind in charge of the practice of being present. And often what we do for that is then we look for some sort of technique that will help us be present, right? Bring our beads along or whatever it is. We have our little bell that goes off every 10 minutes in our pocket, or you name it. We have our mantras, we have all of our techniques. But what often is missing is just this very simple element of being engaged with the experience that you're having right now.